Welcome to another episode of Real Agency. I'm Adam Mackay and today I'm here with my co-host Jamie Fisher.
Hiya, how you doing? And we're here with Donna today.
Hello.
Have a good conversation about obviously career and everything in estate agency.
So Donna, what is always, I've been amazed by you, and I know we're going to touch on a few bits of your journey throughout your career, but also like how much you want to learn and how much you read, and you always, every time we've mentioned a trainer today, when we've been doing some bits with you today, you're like, I've read that book, I've done that. So we'll come back to that later, but let's start with where it all started. How long have you been an agent?
I've been an agent for 29 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't look old enough, James.
No, so I was just shocked. I didn't say anything. I was like, 29 years.
Certainly, yeah. So 29 years this year. So I finished my A-levels when, obviously 18. I originally wanted to be a teacher.
Right.
A primary school teacher, but I didn't want to go to university. I think I just didn't want to actually be away from home. I don't know why, but I just wasn't one of those that wanted to venture. And I decided I wanted an office job. So I looked in the local paper because in those days we didn't have the internet. And I saw a job for an office junior for a agent in Diss in Norfolk. And so I applied. And obviously I got the job. Apparently there was about, 90 applications then. So I got the job. It was a week after my 19th birthday.
Nice. So started off at like the entry level, like a office junior type thing, or was it?
Yes. So what I did,
role?
I was literally the office junior. In those days, I was stuck at the photocopier all day, photocopying the sale particulars.
Going out in the post like the old days.
Yeah.
Sticking the photos on, so they used to get them collected every day, and at lunchtime they'd come in, and then I'd stick them on the details, and then I would, photocopy them. Yeah. And also I would mail out all the details, so that was my job. That's on a table like this, I had about 15, 20 properties, maybe like that, and wrote all the envelopes out by hand and just, I mailed them all
Did you
out.
start that way?
I
That's
did,
how I
yeah.
started.
That's how I started, in the 90s, that's how I started.
And then I had stick stamps on. There's no franking machine then.
Yeah.
And then big old, it didn't have the bags then, so I was down the hill, because we were on a hill with the all the post down to the post office and posted them there, and that was my job every day.
Nice.
Sort of all.
You've not done that for 29 years, have you?
Not done that for 29 years. I say every day. So I then obviously worked my way up and as a negotiator on the front desk. But when so I started in, let's say, the October, and then in the March I got pregnant. So I was full time, and in those days they did say they wouldn't actually take anyone part time because we were all full time. Yeah. But they did actually ask me back and said, could I work? They would have me back as part time. So after I had my son in the November, after 6 months, I went back part time.
Cool. And when did you start valuing and being out on the front line?
So I wasn't a valuer for long. I wasn't a full-time valuer there. I was really I've worked myself up to the senior negotiator. We didn't really have titles really in those days, but I was on the front line, as in negotiating, chasing sales. We chased all our sales, and I guess in those days, we were doing like 50 sales a month.
I know, it was crazy.
I don't know how we did it. I really don't.
Those Friday completions with the keys everywhere.
Oh piles of keys and phones going off.
So it was, we were doing a massive amount of sort of them, what we were, now, and so that was what I was doing mostly, the negotiating and vendor contacts, sellers contacts and things. We had separate viewing assistants then. If I say they were all men, so in those days, they didn't like, I'd say, in that particular obviously office I was working, didn't like women really going out to the houses.
Yeah.
But they did.
Was that a safety thing?
Yeah, I think it was more safety.
Yeah.
But we did at the end, before I left, I did start going out, but I say I wasn't the main. That wasn't my main role, and it was more the valuers. Again, not going back, were men, and I think it was more safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably more, when I first started, similar time, it was more male dominated on those roles.
It was definitely male dominated, yeah. Back then.
Safety as well as probably like the type of job role and stuff is completely changed.
Yeah, definitely.
Like for the better, isn't it? With that?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, definitely is. Obviously, the women now, as you know, in the state agencies.
Just where you are now, which we'll come on to in a bit. Your career, where did it take to that leap to where you're kind of a dynamic, successful estate agent?
Where I am now.
Yeah, like at what point in your career did you think actually I can really go with this? And
gosh, I think it's been confidence. I've lacked, I think, in the back in the day, and I have lacked confidence, I think, and it is having that confidence to say, right, I am good enough, I can do it. And I think back then, obviously, as I said, it was more the male-dominated role, and you just thought, well, that's their job, that's the male job, and my job's the negotiator. When did it change for me?
Yeah, was there like a moment or an office or a mentor that made you...
To exactly where I am now, and going off and being a self-employed agent, it's only been quite recently, and I'd say about a year ago.
Yeah? Yeah, because I've probably met you a couple of years ago, so you've always been kind of the character you are now. Yeah. But I've had it in my career, I'm sure Adam has, where you get to a certain office or you have a mentor where you clicks and you think, actually, this is...
Yeah. I think for me, the thing that last year that clicked for me, I was thinking, all these people that are going self-employed, think, hang on, I can do this. Why am I not doing this? The main, I think, for me has been the role as a valuer. Again, being confident enough, telling people what their home is worth, and I suppose winning the business as well. And then if you didn't get it, you take it personally. And I think everyone feels that they always, although they say it's not you, but you do take it personally. So because I wasn't valuing, I'd say, consistently throughout my time, like I am now, which I've been doing for quite some time, you lose that confidence, and then when you go back out into the field, and when you've done your first one, you get that buzz again. I can do this. Why was I so worried about going into that house? But I think for me it was the lack of continuity, and my roles that I was given, it wasn't always as a valuer, so I was mainly office based. So now what I do, because it's consistent and you're consistently going out, I've got my confidence.
So you're topping up the sort of confidence bucket all the time, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, I think we see that from a lot of agents we speak to. You sort of push through these barriers of confidence, like your first viewings, your first valuations, and then when you're dealing with the chains, your first difficult chain, and I think what I also see in common with a lot of successful agents is there comes a moment where they suddenly feel like, for a long period of time, they feel like they're not deserving for the higher fees, for the higher, bigger properties. Or I'm not good enough for that. And then at some point they go, well, actually, if I can sell that 1 bedroom flat, I can sell someone's £2 million asset.
That's it, and that's where my next level is going. But yeah, I'm certainly a lot more confident, and I'm good at speaking with the people and get on with them very well. So yeah, I think that's the main factor. I think to being successful, to have that confidence in yourself. Because if you don't show that confidence to people in going into their home, and you're actually presenting yourself saying, I can sell your home, they don't see you as being that confident, they're not going to buy into you and have you sell your home. So so you certainly, that's the main thing to have, really.
So for like career progression from our point of view, there's lots of things out there like podcasts, books, and all that type of thing. Is there any, where do you go for that? Is there any particular podcast or books that you read?
it's all the. I can't really pinpoint any one really. I will recommendations to podcasts that I listen to, the estate agencies. I listen. I'm just trying to think who the main one come up. There isn't that. I really can't think of the main one that comes up, but I will listen to any property related podcast.
Yeah.
There is. I'll also listen to Stephen Bartlett sometimes, depending on the subject, if I'm interested in those. Some Australian estate agency, that are brilliant.
I know we spoke about Lee Woodward and his systems.
Brilliant, love listening to the Australians and how the Americans do it, because I think we're only now adopting most of their practices quite recently of being self-employed in this respect, estate agency, and what that brings to the table, and learning from them that it is a good thing. So
I mean, you compare the things you've been. Yes, there was books around back when we first started, wasn't there? But now you've got social media, you've got WhatsApp groups. We mentioned that today with different, WhatsApp groups we've been all involved in, sharing ideas with different agents all around the country, and then you've got there's a lot more access, I think.
It's tons of stuff. That's
self-development.
Oh, definitely. I think today you've got access just at your fingertips. If you want to know something or think, I want to be better at, I don't know, say like going out being a value, you've got tons of stuff. You can go onto the internet straight away and have a look.
Facebook groups.
Facebook groups and see how.
If you just looked at the Facebook groups, you could learn something every day. Couldn't you?
It's so much out there.
And if it's not there, you can put a message on that group and say, well, can you help me, what would you do in it? And there's so many people that help, so you've got all that to hand. There's no...
But you seem to obviously up until recently you were employed, but it's unusual a lot of the time that you get someone who's employed who's willing to learn self-development. It's not completely common. There are certain agents who want to learn all the time.
I've always liked to learn, I've always wanted to do the next thing or learn the next new thing that's coming out, or ways to do it, better ways. I've always wanted, I suppose with myself, I'm a perfectionist in a way. I always want to be better. I want to be the best. So to be that, I want to learn how people do things and what works and what doesn't work, and that's, I don't know, I just love learning. I think that's a job I said to someone, all what's available and reading books is a job, it's a full-time job, but I just love learning.
It's interesting actually, because years ago when I was doing it 24 years, you'd go and work for a big corporate company to get that training because your independence didn't offer it. So, but now it's available to anyone at any time on social media or.
And if you were going to get the training, they'd have to come to your office, and you might be once. You only see them where, as I say, on the internet, you can watch it over.
And I think there is a place for that. We've been to some training stuff recently.
In person, definitely.
Yeah.
If you do it in person, you really can, feel it.
I think you can take inspiration easier nowadays. Like a lot of the American and Australian stuff is more built around your brand as opposed to some of the training you'd have years ago in this agency, which is miles ahead of where some of the corp perhaps are now with their kind of training, because it's all in-house about conversions and stuff like that. But
that's it.
And you always think of it like it's like if one of our friends or any one of us here grabbed our phone and looked through our Facebook feed, it'd be pretty boring because it's full of estate agency. It's the worst. It's going to be all this thing. I don't even have to look at yours. I know what both of yours are going to be like. But that's because we're all wanting to learn and share and
love
it's exciting.
So
you've always been like that, Donna?
I've always been, like I was saying before, when we used to read the paper, when we didn't have the internet, I'd read it from cover to cover because I just wanted to learn everything and want to know what was going on and that is a bit like an estate agency, and I want to know what's going on, and even the local market. I know someone says, "Oh, that house," I'll say, "Yeah, that's with so and so." That's that. Because I just
so you know the market,
want to know the market.
I think that's really interesting. I think because a lot of agents don't, do they nowadays? I think
just focus on them,
what they've got on the market, or how reactive. But I think when I first started, I got asked to drive around all the streets, learn the road names. So if someone came in and said a certain road name, I'd know where it was. I think that's
That's
you've
it.
got to want to learn that stuff, because you can't. It's not you're not going to suddenly just know it without
No.
wanting to learn, are you?
And with, I suppose back when I was with my first agent, because I didn't live in that town, I didn't know those streets very well, and because I wasn't going out there, I didn't see the properties. Most of the properties I was selling, I hadn't even seen them. And I could only go by the details, which isn't, and it's, and it's like, where is, and I had to really learn my area because I wasn't actually physically going out to those properties. But where my patch is now, I've lived there all my life. I know, the area so well because I've grown up there, so I know. I live and breathe, so if anyone asks me, I can tell them firsthand.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, obviously your career, where you're going now, or where you're just going with your self-employed role. So like this could transition into that question, like in terms of knowing your area well.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you're doing now with your career.
So I now self-employed. Going to I don't know if I can say. So I now have joined EXP UK. So I've gone as went self-employed last year, but I'm now joining EXP, and I love the way that you feel included, as and that you're like everyone's rooting for each other, and I like that, like your family. And I haven't met half the people, although I obviously did go to a meeting last year, but everyone's so friendly and helpful and welcoming, and I've messaged quite a few of them asking how they've done certain things, and they're not afraid to tell you.
We noticed that, didn't we? Yeah, like the openness of sharing.
They're so. I messaged one yesterday and she voice noted me back, and she said, I don't normally message, I get so many messages, but you've got a message back, and even though she didn't know the answer to her question, she said she'll find out from me. And I think she's so busy in her own business, but she still will go out of her way to help, and I love that. And just the feeling I've got just being joined for a few weeks now. Everyone is so helpful. I feel at home, I feel I belong.
Oh, good.
It was a big thing, wasn't it? We noticed. But
when you go to more meetings or go to events, you'll get that just grow and grow, and you build relationships. We've made some great friends we didn't know before, didn't we? And I think it's if everyone's rooting for you. Really nice.
I'm really excited to really see where I can take this now.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so where do you see like yourself going? Like obviously, we've been looking at your goals and everything like that. But in 5 years' time, where do you see yourself?
I would like to see myself as the agent to go to in Attleborough and the surrounding areas. That people just mention my name. Or if they ask what estate agent, who should I go with? My name's the one that goes off their, tip of their tongue. So, I'd like to grow, and people, I have had quite a number of recommendations already, but I'd like to see that grow a bit more, and just see where it goes. I don't necessarily want to have a big team behind me, but we'll see what happens. I just like to take it to the max of what I can do myself and see where it goes.
I think the beauty of this model, self-employed, it does give you lots of variations.
Gives you options.
You can set up a team, you can create partnerships with other agents and work on your own, but there's loads of different ways you can do it.
I like the options. You've got the amount obviously that you've given as well at the beginning is just mind-blowing, and I just think it's phenomenal, which is great, so you can grow your business how you want to, and you've got the options there when and if you want to go in other directions as well.
I think the flexibility of that works well. Like we've got a team, but I actually work closely with someone outside my team who's quite local with listings. So it's a really good model. It's more, obviously it's a much more American I suppose, Australian way as well.
Yeah.
But actually, it makes perfect sense, especially in the world when you're dealing with properties as a self-employed agent on your own.
Yeah.
And collaboration feels good, doesn't it? You know, when you're collaborating.
You feel like, I know there's a local one down the road from me who's just, you know, so again, if need be, we could perhaps partner up or. But yeah, I just think see how it goes. I like to, I don't want to say I want this, you know, really over sort of things. But I just think I'm liking this. I'm liking the start of the journey. So let's just see how we go.
Yeah, things change, don't they?
Yeah.
You never know, do you?
You just never know. I didn't think I would be here if you told me 2 years ago that I would be a self-employed agent. I wouldn't have believed you.
It's amazing how things change, isn't it? We were just talking earlier, so a year ago I was sat in here with Adam, setting up the team for myself with EXP. So it's a quick, it can be, but the flexibility is there for you. As your career, depends on which direction it takes, you can adapt, I think, with a self-employed model easier.
Yeah.
So deal with the challenges that obviously come with running an estate agency or being an estate agent.
Yeah. Because it's a lot to learn as well. It's not just being an estate agent.
You're a business owner
It's
now.
your business owner now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to learn. And the great thing with EXP as well is they help you with that.
Yeah.
Although for me, I've already had that because I was already a self-employed estate agent. But if you weren't, they give you step-by-step guide of, you know, who to contact. Well, they give you the forms. They actually, they'll tell you if you haven't done anything. You can't set up and be an EXP agent until all those things are in place because they won't let you. So they need all those things, and I think that's a good thing because if someone just sets up on their own, you don't know they've got the official.
No, it does. That's their neck on the line as well, isn't it? So they need to make sure
Exactly.
Do you reckon in say 5 years' time there'll be more self-employed agents in the UK?
Absolutely. I would say, you know, where I see it going, you know, self-branded, you know, it is the way forward. I think a lot of people are resonating with that, and you're probably going to be 50-50. They might even overtake. You said 5 years, didn't you? But so definitely, I think 50-50.
That way, that's
Self-employed
interesting.
to company, you know, to a traditional estate agency, and beyond that, I think they might even overtake a bit more.
We'll have to look back at this in 5 years'
We'll
time.
see.
We'll see, won't we? Yeah.
Right,
But I don't think Adam. I was just trying to remember what Adam Day said, but I can't remember.
What do you think?
But it's class. There we go. I'll let James say his as well. But there you go, James.
I 5 years' time, I was not far, I was quite 50-50. I was actually more thinking probably like 60-40 in the favour of self-employed agents.
Really bold,
So more.
Yeah, because what I think what's happening is there's more people like yourself do it and talk about it. It becomes easier for people.
And it's so small at the moment, isn't it? Like the percentage is so small, but it only needs you to introduce 3 or 4 people because they see you've done it, and it does. It can escalate. I know that I think that Adam Day's goals are 25%. 25% in life.
I think it'll scale quickly.
I think it's certainly scaled now, hasn't it? So I really think it. But what I would say, and I know people have said this before, it isn't for everyone. You have to be on it. You have to love it, live and breathe it. You can't just switch off at the end of the day and say, right, I'm not doing anything else now until tomorrow because that's home time.
I know, like we're sitting here this approach the evening and we've all got things to do.
Of
course, we've got to make half of us thinking about that. But you can't switch off, can you? You've got to make that call back and deal with that offer.
And I get people, my sellers, and go, I've got an email at another. He does laugh because he said, are you still working? And it'll be at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. But I guess it is my life. And I think you have to have that in you to succeed. You can't just be a self-employed agent if you haven't got that energy,
that drive,
and passion and drive. It won't work. You won't succeed. So.
I was just going to say, but the beauty of that is the client's going to get a better service. So it's great for you, like you enjoy it. but also the client, the end user. If there's more personal agents in the UK, I think the personal agents could change the country's opinion of estate agents.
Yeah, well, I think they are now.
I think they are. And to be fair, since being self-employed, even though I had a really good relationship when I was employed, because they've got my personal or mobile number now, they can WhatsApp me, they can message me, I feel close, and I think they feel close to me, because that personal touch, where they couldn't ask me questions or they couldn't message. They had to wait for 9 o'clock the next day to ring the office, or they might send an email but they won't get a reply overnight. Where now they're like, wow, you're on, like I said with that other one, guy, you do get a more personal.
You build a stronger connection.
And I feel a lot closer to my sellers, definitely.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Well, I did ask someone else this the other day, but have you got any funny stories as we're finishing up? Yeah. Have you got any funny stories in your career? Has anything ever happened on a viewing, or have you locked yourself in a house?
Gosh.
Yeah. Sorry to throw you under the spot. It's okay. Maybe you've had a perfect career.
I wouldn't say that. You always get the key situation, don't you? And you think.
Did you ever ask me that?
I've never asked you that, Jane, because I know the answer.
I'm just trying to think if I did. I thought I did the other a few months ago actually, but luckily the key was on the outside. One of those self doors that just lock and then that's it. You can't open it again. I'm just trying to think if I can't think of anything to hand at the moment actually.
What's your favourite part of the job then? Let's finish with that.
Oh gosh, favourite part of the job. Do you know, I do still get a buzz, and I think you have to, because have that when you agree a sale, and completion. I love helping people. That's the only thing I can say. So I love everything about it, and so there's not anything that I would change. So I say the favourite part, I think it's just having that relationship with all the sellers and buyers. But yeah, that was probably it. I can't really say there's a certain part I really love, and I just love it all.
Like helping people.
Just love helping.
Well, that's a lovely place to finish it. Well, thank you very much for coming on and chatting, and we wish you all the best for the future. Yeah.